The evening air was quiet as the city slowly moved into night. Streetlights turned on one by one, casting long shadows across the road. Marcus drove his gray sedan calmly through the neighborhood. He had finished a long day at work and wanted nothing more than to get home. His hands rested lightly on the steering wheel and his radio played softly. Marcus was a tall black man in his late 30s with a tired but steady face. He wore a simple jacket and clean shoes and nothing about him stood out. Still, his shoulders stayed tense whenever he drove after dark. He had learned long ago that calm driving did not always mean calm stops. Behind him, a police car slowly entered the same street. Officer Anna sat inside with one hand on the wheel and the other on her radio. She had been working a long shift and her patience was thin. Her eyes scanned every car as if she expected trouble to appear at any moment. When she noticed Marcus's car ahead, her focus locked onto it. She told herself the car looked suspicious, though she could not explain why. The vehicle stayed within its lane and followed every rule. Still, Anna pressed the accelerator and moved closer. The red and blue lights suddenly flashed behind Marcus. His heart sank the moment he saw them in his mirror. He slowed down and pulled over carefully to the side of the road. He placed both hands on the steering wheel just as he had been taught. Marcus took a slow breath and waited. He reminded himself to stay calm and respectful. He reminded himself that arguing never helped. Anna stepped out of her car and adjusted her uniform. Her boots hit the pavement with sharp sounds. She walked toward Marcus's window with a stiff posture. She knocked on the glass harder than necessary. Marcus rolled the window down slowly. "Good evening, officer," he said in a quiet voice. "License and registration," Anna said without greeting him. Marcus nodded and explained that the papers were in the glove box. He asked if it was okay to reach for them. Anna sighed loudly, as if annoyed by the question. "Just do it," she said. Marcus reached slowly and handed the papers to her. He kept his movements clear and careful. "May I ask why I was stopped?" he asked politely. Anna looked at him, then looked at the car, then back at him. "You were swerving," she said. Marcus blinked in confusion. "I do not think so, officer," he said. "I was driving straight." Her expression hardened immediately. "Step out of the car," she ordered. People nearby began to notice the stop. A man at a bus bench stopped scrolling on his phone. A woman walking her dog slowed down. Marcus opened the door and stepped out calmly. He kept his hands visible in front of him. "I do not want any trouble," he said. Anna stepped closer than needed. Her voice grew sharper. "Then you should have followed the rules," she said. She grabbed his arm to move him toward the back of the car. Her grip was tight and sudden. Marcus winced in surprise. "Please do not grab me," he said. "I am cooperating." Anna pushed him lightly against the car. It was not extreme, but it was unnecessary. The sound of his jacket brushing metal echoed in the quiet street. The watching crowd grew silent. Phones appeared in hands, though no one spoke. Marcus felt heat rise in his face, but he stayed quiet. He stared forward and took another slow breath. "You do not have to do this," he said calmly. Anna laughed softly without humor. "I decide what I have to do," she replied. Her radio crackled suddenly with a sharp sound. "Unit 17 report to headquarters immediately. Emergency meeting." Anna froze for a moment. Meetings like that were rare. Especially at this hour. She stepped back from Marcus and pressed the radio button. "Copy," she said with clear irritation. She looked at Marcus again with annoyance. "Get back in your car and do not move," she ordered. Marcus nodded and returned to the driver's seat. His hands shook slightly as he closed the door. His chest felt tight, but his face stayed calm. Anna walked back to her patrol car, muttering under her breath. She felt interrupted and frustrated. She believed the stop had been unfinished business. As she drove toward headquarters, her thoughts stayed sharp and defensive. She told herself she had done nothing wrong. She told herself she was just doing her job. Marcus sat quietly in his car for several minutes after she left. The street slowly returned to normal. People went back to their phones and walks. Marcus started the engine but did not drive yet. He rested his head briefly against the seat. He felt the familiar mix of anger and sadness. Then he straightened and looked ahead. He knew exactly where Anna was going. He also knew what waited for her there. Marcus worked in the same building she was driving toward. Not as an officer. Not as staff. But as the person who signed final decisions. He turned the key and pulled back onto the road. His expression was calm again. Tonight was far from over. The police headquarters building stood tall and quiet against the dark sky. Its glass windows reflected the city lights and passing cars. Officer Anna parked her patrol car and stepped out with fast movements. Her mind was still focused on the traffic stop from earlier. She walked inside with a firm expression. Her boots echoed across the polished floor. Other officers were already gathering near the main conference room. Low voices filled the space with nervous energy. No one seemed relaxed. Emergency meetings usually meant serious issues. Anna felt a small twist in her stomach, but pushed it away. She took a seat near the middle of the room. Her arms crossed tightly as she waited. A few officers whispered to each other. Others stared at the door in silence. Minutes passed slowly. Then the door at the front of the room opened. The room grew quiet almost instantly. Marcus walked in calmly. He wore a simple dark suit and a plain shirt. His posture was straight and confident. His face was calm but serious. Anna's breath caught for a moment. She stared at him in confusion. Her mind struggled to place him. Marcus walked to the front of the room and stood beside the chief. The chief cleared his throat and spoke. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," he said. "This is Mr. Marcus Hill," the chief continued. "He is the director of internal oversight for this department. He reports directly to the city council." A ripple of surprise moved through the room. Several officers exchanged quick glances. Anna felt her face grow warm. Marcus nodded once at the room. "Good evening," he said in a calm voice. "I know this meeting was unexpected." Anna's heart started to pound. Her mind replayed the traffic stop over and over. The grip on his arm. The push against the car. Marcus looked across the room slowly. His eyes moved from face to face. Then his gaze stopped briefly on Anna. He did not show anger. He did not smile. He simply looked at her. Anna swallowed hard and looked down. Her hands tightened together. Marcus began to speak again. "Tonight I received several reports," he said. "Some were about routine matters. One was about a traffic stop that happened earlier this evening." The room felt heavy with tension. Anna's breathing became shallow. Marcus continued speaking in a steady tone. "The stop involved a black driver and an officer on duty. The interaction was recorded by witnesses. It raised concerns about conduct and judgment." Anna felt every word land like weight. She knew without doubt the report was about her. Marcus paused for a moment. "This meeting is not about punishment," he said. "It is about accountability and awareness." He turned slightly toward the chief. The chief nodded and stepped back. Marcus stepped forward. "I want everyone here to understand something clearly," he said. "Authority does not give permission to act without respect." The room stayed silent. Marcus spoke slowly and clearly. "Every person you stop is a human being first. Every action you take represents this department." Anna felt her chest tighten. Shame crept into her thoughts. Marcus looked around again. "Earlier tonight," he continued, "I was stopped by one of your officers." A sharp intake of breath moved through the room. Anna's head snapped up. Marcus met her eyes briefly again. He did not accuse. He did not raise his voice. "I followed every instruction," he said. "I spoke calmly. I cooperated fully. His voice remained steady. Still the situation escalated without cause. Anna's face burned. Her ears rang. Marcus took a slow breath. "I am sharing this not to embarrass anyone," he said. "I am sharing it because moments like these shape trust." He turned slightly toward Anna. "Officer Anna," he said calmly. Her name sounded loud in the quiet room. "Please stand," he said. Anna hesitated for a second. Then she stood slowly. Her legs felt weak. Marcus faced her fully. "Officer," he said, "can you explain your actions during the stop?" The room waited. Anna swallowed and spoke softly. "I believed the driver was acting suspicious," she said. Marcus nodded once. "What behavior concerned you?" he asked. Anna paused. She searched her memory. "He was calm," she said. "He questioned the stop." Marcus raised his eyebrows slightly. "Calm behavior and questions are not threats," he said. Anna's shoulders slumped. "I see that now," she said quietly. Marcus held her gaze. "Do you understand how your actions could be seen?" he asked. Anna nodded. "Yes, sir," she replied. Marcus stepped back. "Thank you for your honesty," he said. He turned back to the room. "This is why oversight exists," he said. "Not to shame. Not to attack. But to correct." The chief stepped forward again. "We will be reviewing training procedures," he said. "And reinforcing respectful conduct." Marcus nodded. He gathered his notes. Before leaving he looked once more at Anna. She held his gaze this time. After the meeting, officers slowly stood and began to leave. The room filled with quiet movement. Anna stayed seated for a moment. Her mind felt heavy. When she finally stood, Marcus was near the door. She walked toward him carefully. "Sir," she said, "I owe you an apology." Marcus stopped and turned to face her. His expression remained calm. "I accept responsibility for my actions," she said. "I was wrong." Marcus nodded slowly. "Acknowledgement is a start," he said. Anna lowered her head slightly. "Thank you for holding me accountable," she said. Marcus opened the door. "Accountability helps everyone," he replied. He walked out into the night. Anna stood there quietly. For the first time she understood the weight of her badge. The days after the meeting felt different inside the police department. Conversations became quieter and more thoughtful. Training notices appeared on bulletin boards and email screens. Officers were told to attend new sessions on conduct and communication. Officer Anna felt the change more deeply than most. She returned to duty with a heavy mind and a careful heart. Every sound of her radio reminded her of the meeting. Every traffic stop reminded her of Marcus. She started noticing small things she had ignored before. The way people stiffened when she approached. The way hands moved slowly toward wallets. The way fear could hide behind calm faces. Anna began taking extra breaths before each interaction. She spoke more softly. She explained her actions clearly. She listened more than she talked. Some officers noticed the change. A few teased her lightly. Others quietly followed her example. One evening Anna sat alone in her patrol car after a shift. The city lights reflected across her windshield. She felt tired but thoughtful. She remembered Marcus's words about trust. She realized trust was not demanded but earned. Across town Marcus sat in his office reviewing reports. Stacks of papers rested neatly on his desk. Screens showed data and notes from different cases. The traffic stop report had already moved through proper channels. Marcus did not push it further. He believed correction mattered more than punishment. Still he thought about Anna often. Not with anger, but with curiosity. He wondered if the moment had changed her. He hoped it had. One afternoon Marcus received a request. The department asked him to observe a training session. He agreed without hesitation. The training room was filled with chairs and quiet voices. Anna sat near the back with a notebook in her hands. She did not expect to see Marcus walk in. When he entered, the room grew still. Some officers straightened their posture. Anna felt her stomach tighten. Marcus took a seat near the side and nodded politely. The instructor began speaking about respectful policing. Examples were shared and discussed. Anna listened closely. Each example felt personal. Each word felt necessary. At one point, the instructor asked for volunteers. Anna surprised herself by raising her hand. She stood and spoke honestly. She talked about assumptions. She talked about fear and pride. She talked about how easy it was to forget the human side of the badge. The room listened. No one laughed. No one interrupted. Marcus watched quietly. He saw sincerity in her posture and voice. After the session ended, officers slowly filed out. Anna stayed behind, gathering her notes. Marcus approached her calmly. "You spoke well today," he said. Anna looked up surprised. "Thank you, sir," she replied. Marcus nodded. "Growth begins with honesty," he said. Anna hesitated, then spoke again. "I am trying to do better," she said. Marcus met her eyes. "Trying matters," he replied. Weeks passed. The city moved forward. One evening, Anna responded to a call in a busy area. A man stood near a broken car looking stressed. People walked past without helping. Anna parked and approached slowly. She greeted him respectfully. She asked questions without assumptions. The man relaxed as they spoke. Together they called for roadside help. The situation ended calmly. As Anna returned to her car, she felt something new. Pride without force. Authority without fear. Across the city, Marcus attended a community meeting. Residents spoke about their concerns and hopes. He listened carefully and answered openly. Someone mentioned seeing officers acting more respectfully. Another nodded in agreement. Marcus felt quiet satisfaction. Later that night, Anna sat at home reading through a training booklet. She paused and looked out her window. She thought about the night of the traffic stop. She felt regret but also gratitude. She knew she could not change the past, but she could shape the future. The next morning, Marcus received a message. Anna had written a formal statement. Not required. Not requested. In it, she reflected on her actions and lessons learned. She asked that it be used for training purposes. Marcus read the letter carefully. He felt respect for her courage. He approved its use. Months passed. Change did not happen overnight. But it happened steadily. Anna became known as an officer who listened. Marcus became known as a leader who corrected with care. Their paths crossed only occasionally. Each time they exchanged respectful nods. Neither spoke of that night again. They did not need to. The lesson lived quietly between them. Spring arrived with warmer air and longer evenings. The city looked softer in the golden light, but the work inside the department stayed serious. Policies could be written in a day, but trust took much longer to rebuild. Marcus knew that real change had to be seen on the street, not only heard in meetings. He worked with community leaders to create a new program for better communication. It was simple and practical, and focused on listening and calm problem solving. The program paired officers with local groups for regular talks, not only during emergencies. Some officers welcomed it, and others felt nervous about it. Anna signed up early. She did not do it for attention. She did it because she needed to face what she had avoided for years. On the first night of the program, a small crowd gathered in a community center. Plastic chairs were set in rows, and a table of water bottles sat near the wall. A few children played quietly near their parents. Older residents sat with folded arms, watching carefully. Anna walked in wearing her uniform, but she kept her hands relaxed at her sides. She chose a seat that was not in front. She listened as people spoke about daily worries, small and big. They talked about fear during stops, and tension in simple conversations, and the feeling of being judged before speaking. Anna did not interrupt. She took notes, but she looked up often so people felt seen. When it was her turn, she stood slowly and spoke in a steady voice. She said she had made assumptions in the past and she was working to change. She said she wanted to earn trust through consistent actions. She said she understood that words alone were not enough. The room stayed quiet, but it was a different kind of quiet. It was not the cold silence of distance. It was the careful silence of people deciding what to believe. Marcus stood near the side of the room and observed without controlling the moment. He saw Anna's shoulders shake slightly as she spoke. He saw her keep going anyway. He also saw a few residents soften their posture, just a little. After the meeting ended, people began to leave in small groups. An older woman with gray hair stopped near Anna. Her face was serious but not harsh. She said she appreciated the honesty and she hoped it would continue. Anna thanked her and nodded with respect. Outside, the street was calm. Marcus walked toward Anna as she stood near her patrol car. The night air carried the sound of distant traffic. The city felt wide and open. Marcus spoke in a quiet voice. He said the first step was often the hardest step. Anna replied that she felt nervous, but she also felt lighter. Marcus nodded and said consistency would matter more than courage in one night. Anna agreed and said she would keep showing up. Weeks turned into months. The program continued and slowly became a normal part of the department. Attendance grew, and the discussions became more open. Some residents started greeting certain officers by name. Anna also changed in smaller ways that no one announced. She kept a small notebook of reminders in her pocket. Before each shift she read a few lines that grounded her. She wrote about patience, and clear explanations, and respectful distance. One evening she stopped a car for a broken tail light. The driver was a young man who looked tired and tense. Anna walked up slowly and greeted him politely. She explained the reason for the stop in plain words. She asked if he felt safe and comfortable before requesting any paperwork. The young man relaxed little by little as he listened. The stop ended calmly and respectfully. Back at headquarters, the chief began sharing reports on reduced complaints and improved communication. The changes were not perfect, but the trend was clear. Marcus reviewed the numbers and also read the stories behind them. He paid attention to patterns and training gaps and repeated mistakes. He also noted the quiet wins that did not make headlines. One afternoon Marcus received an invitation from the community center. They were holding a small event to recognize officers and residents who helped build the program. Marcus agreed to attend, not for praise, but to keep the bridge strong. The event was simple. There were paper signs and homemade snacks and a small stage. People clapped politely as names were called. Marcus did not expect anything for himself. Then the organizer called Anna's name. Anna walked up slowly, looking slightly uncomfortable with attention. The organizer thanked her for showing up consistently, even on tough nights. The organizer said trust grows when people return again and again. Anna accepted a small certificate and stepped back quietly. Marcus watched from his seat and felt something settle inside him. He thought about the night of the stop again, but the memory felt different now. It no longer felt like a wound that stayed open. It felt like a turning point that had been used, not wasted. After the event, Marcus stepped outside to get some air. He stood near the entrance and looked at the street. The sun was setting and the sky looked warm. Anna walked out a minute later. She held the certificate in one hand and her hat in the other. She looked tired but calm. Marcus greeted her with a small nod. Anna returned the nod and then spoke. She said she had been thinking about how one moment can shape a person. She said she did not want to be the kind of officer who made people feel small. She said she wanted to be the kind of officer who helped people feel safe. Marcus listened and kept his expression steady. He said that accountability is not a one-time event. He said it is a daily choice. Anna agreed and said she was learning to choose better. They stood in silence for a moment, not awkward, just honest. A child ran past them laughing, holding a juice box. A parent followed behind, smiling and calling gently. The world kept moving forward. Marcus said he would continue pushing for training and support, not just rules. Anna said she would continue taking the work seriously, not just the job. Marcus nodded again, and Anna took a slow breath. As Anna walked toward her car, she looked back once. She thanked Marcus for holding the line without cruelty. Marcus replied that the goal was always to protect people, including the people who needed correction. Anna drove away into the evening traffic. Marcus stayed for a moment and watched the street lights come on. He felt hopeful, not because everything was fixed, but because something real had started. He turned and walked back inside, ready to keep the work going.